Good evening and welcome to a special edition of CWIT Sessions. What is CWIT Sessions? CWIT Sessions is a pop-up conversation in a pop-up location with a surprise guest. I am so honored to have today's guest she is someone whom I admire, someone whom I've grown up watching, someone whom I have learned from, and now someone whom I work with. Miss Dorothy Leavell, the publisher of the Chicago and Gary Crusader newspapers. Hey, Miss Dorothy.
Hello, Chelsea. How are you?
I am fine. It's been a long time coming since we've been talking about doing this conversation, but now that you have such a special announcement, I thought that this was apropos that we have a conversation. And I am over here in good old Chicago in the offices, the flagship office of the Chicago Crusader.
Yeah.
So the papers, tell them, a little bit about the history of the papers.
Oh, we have such a rich history. This is the 81st year of the Chicago paper.
81st?
Yes, and 60th year of the Gary Crusader.
Now, I love me some Gary.
Well, we both love us some Gary, that's for sure. I am so pleased to just talk a little bit about the Crusader, because that's probably, if I try to cover 81 years or
we'll be here a minute,
right? We'll be here much too long. But the Crusader in Chicago started in 1940, and the one in Gary in 1961. And the amazing thing about it, it was an organ for an organization called the Negro Labor Relations League. So 1940, we were Negroes.
Yes, we
were.
Y'all were. I wasn't around.
So, at any rate, the organization worked to improve the lives of black people in the communities. Let me just give you a little capsule of what was happening in those earlier years. We did not have any black telephone operators. Believe it or not, we used to pick up the phone and we would give the number we wanted to reach to an operator. But there were only Caucasians. There were no blacks. And so the Negro Labor Relations League fought for that, including the Crusader, which became from a one-page newsletter to a full-blown newspaper
that I still get every week to this day.
Yes, and so what else was exciting is that there were so many jobs like that blacks were not given an opportunity. Black men could not even drive the trucks to deliver foods and stuffs that would be sold in a little grocery store. Yes, and so we didn't think that was right.
Right.
And so, well, I wasn't really here that early. I came in a few years after 1940.
I thought so. I was going to let you tell the people.
Absolutely. But the stockyards were booming in those days. And a lot of the laborers were African Americans. And they were paid just a pittance of money. It wasn't a real great job. Can you imagine slaughtering animals and getting them ready to be sold in the stores and all that? Well, Chicago was probably the number 2 market for livestock and what they used to call the stockyards. I think Kansas City was the only other city that was bigger.
Okay.
But that was just the beginning of it. And of course, the Crusader was founded in the Ida B. Wells project. And that is...
I don't think I knew that.
Yes. That's where it was. Mr. Leavell and his family lived in Ida B. Wells Project. 37th and King Drive.
Not too far from here.
Yeah, we go. We're still on King Drive. We veered off once, but we have been here since 1964. And when we moved in this community, it was booming. Let's fast track to 1961 and talk about Gary.
Please.
Gary was fighting open housing and so many discriminatory practices. Blacks were not readily accepted to go to Marquette Park.
And I was just there Saturday.
Yeah.
Kicking it. Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know. And we have celebrated our anniversaries there.
I had my wedding anniversary there.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place. It's a wonderful venue in Gary. And so that was what we started with. And it was all about getting equal participation, equal wages, what we're still fighting for in 2021.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the progress has not been very swift,
Yes.
but we have seen a lot of changes, but we still have a long way to go.
But you know, Miss Dorothy, I credit you keeping these papers, and you and your team keeping these papers alive to have that voice, because as we know, the publishing industry has changed drastically over the years.
Yeah.
But yet you have made the conscious decision to remain in print, but expand online, which we'll talk about in a second. Tell me your thinking behind that, to keep a paper.
Yes, well, there are a lot of people who still want to read a paper. And what is really amazing, Chelsea, is the fact that the larger mainstream newspapers, they saw, they doom, we're going to go out of business, except for the New York Times and the Washington Post. They realized how important it was to have a print product.
That's right.
And they still have one. But what is so amazing about what has happened is the fact that they found out that the newspapers that were most successful were the ones who had a community presence and constituency.
Yes.
You know, we talk about constituencies when people are political candidates,
Yes.
but we have a constituency as well. And so the amazing thing is that we have found out that we had less problems than some of the mainstream papers because they didn't have one.
And guess what? We would have put up a fight if you were going to just go online on it. We were like, no. And I don't want to march out in front of the Crusader on Broadway or over here, but I'm glad you made that choice. So now, as we talk about the change of the publishing industry, the advent, obviously, of social media, which we're on right now, and then the critical piece that news is 24 hours, right? It used to be, well, I'll wait and see what happens when it comes out in the paper, right? Or in a week. But now it's constant. And the Crusader made the shift, and now you're taking it a step further with changing the look a little bit. So
changing the look.
What are you doing?
We're looking at a new website.
A new website.
Yes. And all of the bells and whistles that go along with it.
Okay.
But in addition to that, we are looking at a younger publication for the youth.
And then
the
we need that,
people.
the millennials. I'll tell you a secret, Miss Dorothy. I hang around them to stay hip and in the know.
I know.
Speak a whole nother language.
Believe it or not, it was so swift that all of a sudden I didn't know all of the singers and all that. I used to, you want to talk about somebody. I knew Dinah Washington. Hey, you really, really do. And what is really amazing, Chelsea, right next door, just yesterday, there was a mural painted on a grocery store that's right next door to us of King, what was his name? King Von? Yes, who was unfortunately killed, I understand, in Atlanta, but he had his beginnings across the street from us at Parkway Gardens. Yes, and yesterday at the store, they were saying, I said, well, my goodness, why you have this here? They said, well, we knew him from 8 years old. We helped to raise him.
What a tribute.
And I said, isn't that something? Now, out in front today, flowers and candles, and this beautiful rendering of him that people have been coming by and stopping. And
I know you all are covering it, right?
Oh, well, go on Twitter. We
tweeted go on Twitter.
Yeah, go on Twitter. We tweeted it. We were the first to do it.
Yes. Yeah, right there in your backyard.
Yes, right next door.
That's perfect.
And the amazing thing about it, I was so impressed with the artists, and I don't remember the names, but we have made connection, and we're going to have a mural put on the wall of the Crusader.
Oh, I love it. Well, you know I'm going to have to be here for the unveiling, and we'll go live
and
again.
Guess what? We're going to do the same thing in Gary.
Yes.
We're going to do the same thing in
and
Gary.
You heard it here first. If you're just tuning in, where have you been? I am talking to the one and only Dorothy Leavell, publisher of the Chicago and Gary Crusaders. So, so the site is live.
It's going to go live the 16th.
It's going live August 16th.
Well, it's a soft lunch, as they say, and we go for the full lunch on the 16th, but that's not the end of it.
Right.
We want to know what our readers enjoy about it.
Okay.
You know, in addition to having our print publication, and now we're fully integrated on social media and all of that, we're going to have a new millennial thing. We have what we call the Pulse.
Yes, I love the Pulse.
Yes,
by the way.
yes.
So for those of you who don't, tell them know what the Pulse is.
The Pulse is our daily. If you come out and if you come out at least 6 days a week, you're considered a daily.
That's right.
So the only day we don't come out is on Sunday. But we are excited about it. People get it. Right now it's free.
Yes.
Now, I don't know how long it's going to be free.
Look, I'm going to talk offline with you about my little free subscription. I love the Pulse for the simple fact that it is a nice balanced mix of Chicago and North Gary news.
That's right.
And
that's right.
You know, they have the mantra that, you know, you got to have sex, murder, and mayhem to sell. And the Crusader prides itself on promoting the positive news, the things that are happening, but still being an advocate for the people.
Absolutely.
All in one. So you have your op-eds, you have your nosy columns, but you have your, hey, here's the ribbon cutting. And when you can't find it anywhere else,
that's right,
you find it in the Crusader. And that's why I'm so glad that we are continuing to support you and this website. So what we're asking people to do is go ahead and log on to ChicagoCrusader.com. There's the Gary section is on there as well. But we want you to click on it, click around, and I believe there's some surveys, or there will be some surveys on there, so that people can give feedback. If they say, well, I want more information about rap music, Miss Leavell, or I want hip hop, or I want some poetry in here. The cool thing about being online is you can just drop it in there.
And you're absolutely right. A lot of people ask us all the time, do you have poetry in your newspaper? I don't have enough pages to do poetry, but we can put it online.
I love it.
And we get so many stories we can't put in the newspaper.
Right. And then things happen after you go to press. As soon as you hit send, it's like such and such got elected to whatever, and it's like, we gotta wait till tomorrow, put it in the Post. So that is.
But at least they don't have to wait a week.
That's right. That's right. So I am imploring everyone who is watching to share this video. Let everybody know that, one, the Crusader is alive and well and thriving on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and here on Facebook. And this is your first live stream. We're streaming live from your page too.
That's right.
Which
for
is
the first time. And
hilarious.
they keep asking me to why don't you tell your story on your page? They keep asking me that. So
you know what? I'm gonna have to take over your page.
Okay.
And then we can
sounds good.
I'll be Dorothy and put the information out there as told to me by the Dorothy Leavell.
Now you know what? Just recently, a woman named Anna did a story on me and about the history of the Crusader. We did put that on Facebook.
I did see that. Yes.
And we got great reaction from many people. People didn't know some of the things about me and about the Crusader. And so we had an opportunity. She did a very nice story about it.
Yes, I'm going to have to reshare that so those of you who missed it can see that. There's so much history at this table. I'm almost tearing up, Miss Dorothy, but I promised on a Tuesday evening, as we both have to cook for our husbands, that I would not keep you. I don't know if you are, but I need to.
Well, my husband has gotten used to not having a home prepared meal.
Oh my goodness.
I only do holidays these days.
Oh, bite your tongue. If my husband is watching this, he's like, get out of that woman's office.
There will have to be no influence
at all.
Absolutely.
But I want to tell you, thank you. Thank you for all the opportunities that you have afforded me. Thank you for the news that you give us, that others won't be willing to tell all those good stories that give Gary its shine.
Absolutely. And I love Gary.
Yes, you
with
do.
A passion.
Yes, you do.
Because the people in that town are just amazing.
Amazing.
I don't know if you remember, Chelsea, that we honored your family some years ago.
You did?
Yeah.
Business. My father as a businessman.
Yes. And other large families where they had all of these children and they were all successful. They were going to college and they were starting businesses and they were just so successful. And so we honored them. I really would like
to do those
things. Yes. And the thing that we need more than anything, we need people who are interested who are journalists, if they are
Okay.
freelancers or whatever, to get in touch with us. We want to.
How do we get in touch with you, Miss Dorothy?
Okay.
What do they need to do?
All they need to do is send it to D. Leavell at ChicagoCrusader.com.
Okay.
And it's Chicago and Gary.
Mm-hmm.
I do both. I look at every email
You sure
every
do,
day.
and you respond. She responds to text and everything. She's like me. We respond because we know that we'll need that reciprocation when we need something.
Absolutely.
So be responsible.
Yeah,
I will go on
absolutely.
camera and record to say that I am committed to supplying content
Oh,
and
wonderful.
helping to continue to push the site and just push the paper because it's so
Absolutely.
needed in our community.
Absolutely.
And I got to shout out your web developer,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Mecca Marketing Group, Lenora and her team. They have
Yes.
put in countless hours to
they
get ready for
have.
the 16th.
They have. We had to push it back a little bit.
Yeah, to get it
from
right.
Yeah, to get it right. And of course, we had years and years of content that was on the old site that had to be transferred.
Oh, that's
so
more than a
bear with
notion.
us. Bear with us. Some people are saying, I don't see my link on there anymore.
It's coming.
It's gonna be on there. So
Okay.
we're gonna continue to do this, and we've got new generations of the Leavells who are coming on board. Hopefully,
I love it.
they
It's the
see
family legacy.
Well, yeah, they see how hard I work, Chelsea.
That's right.
So sometimes they don't want to come.
Oh my goodness! But they
We
had to
gotta
give
work
you
on
your
it.
rest too.
Absolutely, I've got about 5 books I want to write.
Oh wow!
5 books at least.
Well, I can't wait.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, they gonna
come
be-
on,
they
future
gonna be
Lavells,
something.
come on and get to work because you have
That's
some
right.
greatness to birth.
Oh yes, absolutely, and we continue to love both communities, and we want to make sure that if there's some information, if there's something that people can benefit by, we want to try to get it in the Crusader. And all we can't get in there, go to that website. It's gonna be
ChicagoCrusader.com.
Yes. And we get more than I would think more than about 400 or 500 emails a day.
Yeah.
And it is so hard to keep
They
up
are
with
checking
them.
for you. I'm trying to tell you, we are checking for the Crusader. And after this video goes viral, even more. So millennials, this is your new spot. She's creating something specifically for you. And I have some millennials in my life who will be contributing content.
Oh,
just
wonderful.
know that. They are strong
wonderful.
writers. They are social media savvy. And they have their ear to the ground and the pulse of their generation.
Guess
so.
what? Former Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson's daughter is going to be joining us.
All right, J-Dub. I love it. And that's what we have to
Absolutely.
do as a community. We
Absolutely.
have to rally around our
Absolutely.
own, I'm saying in the mic, our
Absolutely.
own publications
Exactly.
to tell
And
our
for her,
own stories.
And for her to have been raised with that mantra, it is just unnatural for her to want to come and be with us. So we are looking forward to it. In the next few weeks, she should be on board.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
everybody, you have been watching CWIT Sessions, a special edition, a conversation with the Dorothy Leavell of the Chicago and Gary Crusaders. Don't forget, make sure you go and visit ChicagoCrusader.com. The official launch is August 16th. It's live now. Play around with it. Fill out some surveys. Let us know what you see, what you like, and what you want to see. And she will keep bringing it to you.
I sure will.
Thank you, Miss Dorothy.
That's my promise.
We're going to sign off now.
All right.
I'm going to sign us off, and you can just wave and look pretty like you've been doing.
Bless your heart. It's been a long day.
Yes, indeed. And we are done.